MntakaGqezu ungumtithe umamunaki?
Hayi mntaka khandi mbona.
Okay.
Mhlawumbe usebhizi uyaconnect.
All right, all right. Councillor Strubel, you are on. Okay. We are double check now. I am on. Councillor Vormoras are on. Councillor Mwezu are on. It's two councillors, I think, struggle to connect at the moment. So we look like.
Hello, Chairperson.
Thank you, Mamunaki. Can I see you? Can I see you? You look like you have a night. Oh yes, thanks a lot. Thank you, Mamunaki. Councillor Vomeras is only Councillor Strubel is not on at the moment. I see you, my previous. I see you, my previous speaker.
Thank you.
Thank you. We only one councillor we are not see today at the moment. I think we can start our meeting because all of my councillor is here. I think we can take a few minutes for silent prayer, not for few minutes. I never done this, but I think I can do this today. Can you take a silence prayer, please? Thank you. Thank you, councillors. Members are present. At the moment, my members of my committee are present is 4. At the moment, we're still waiting for one councillor, Councillor Strubel. Members absent with leave, none at the moment. Members absent without leave, at the moment is 1. Is Councillor Strubel at the moment.
Chairperson?
Chair?
Yes. May I quickly ask, I think Councillor Opperman is the one that is missing. She is with us on this committee, not Councillor Strubel.
Oh, yes.
It's Councillor Opperman.
It's Councillor Opperman.
It's written.
It's Councillor Opperman that's missing.
Oh, yes. Councillor Opperman, where are you?
She just sent me a message, so I'm going to see what she's saying, Chair.
Oh, yes. When it's coming, it can be indicated that it's coming. I know all the time have a problem of connection.
Yeah, Chair, yes, she's saying she's got problems with connection. So as soon as that speaks, then she will join us.
Yes, okay. Thanks a lot, Councillor. So, other councillors present. Whose councillors present today? Can you show me the face?
I'm present, Councillor Salas, I'm present.
Councillor Matika, thank you. And other councillor is present? No, it's fine. It's only Councillor Matika is present. Is join us in this section 80. Member of officials. I think my director, acting director, Kola France, you can show us your official, you have it, your members of your department, please. Can you unmute my director?
Oh, sorry about that, Councillor. I'm going to ask the managers to indicate their presence. I cannot see Richard, but I do see Mr. James McCarthy. Perhaps also Randall and Mr. Davi Adonis. I haven't seen those three gentlemen. Can they indicate if they are present at the meeting, please?
That's it.
Good morning. I'm standing in for Stephen Langlands. I am present.
Okay.
You?
Thank you, Mr. Barnes. Richard, are you present?
Morning, Chairperson. Randall Bauer, Vice Management, present.
Thank you.
Okay.
It's only Richard is absent.
Chairperson, just Richard is just in a BEC. He's going to be like a few minutes, but he will join the meeting.
Okay. Director.
Okay.
Chairperson, I may also make an apology for Ian Besaidenote from the fire department. He's also going to be a few minutes late, but he is going to join the meeting.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I think my director is fine. I think, thank you, Mr. McCarthy, to be here. I think last time is a lack of communication of the date of the meeting, but I'm happy today you are here.
Good morning, Mr. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Members of the audit committee present. Is any member of the audit committee is present in this meeting? It's none. I know members of the public is part of this meeting. We are going straight to page 6. Confirmation of the meeting, of the last meeting, we have it. I think we have a meeting in September. So it's a meeting is in front, it's a minute is in front of us. Anyone is want to correct the minutes, we can have the opportunity to do so. If we agree, can you approve our meeting, our minutes?
Chairperson,
yes,
Councillor, I agree. We can move for the minutes I propose for the adoption.
Thank you, Councillor. Thank you.
Adopted.
Your your device, please. Thank you. We are approve our meeting, our minutes. We are going straight to execution list. It's in front of us. I think to our execution list, councillors, is only report that we left last meeting is a Garden Road District report. I think we are getting today. If anyone has something to the execution list, we can say something, but it look like the one we have it can be out because Makati is yet. So can we?
Chair, yes, we can accept it. The only, and I just want to thank whoever is responsible for this report for that's not empty, and also the status of the execution. I see the only one that is really outstanding here is, as you just mentioned, that the Municipal Health and Environmental Services reports, but that is in our agenda today. So we can move, Chair.
Thank you. The recommendation is already there that the matter arising from minutes scheduled for meeting held 17 September be accepted. Okay, thank you. Now we are moved straight to matters submitted by acting municipal manager. We're going straight to page 13.
Chair, I've got a question. Chair.
Yebo.
We've got 3 months reports. Is it necessary that we must go through July and August? Also, can we not go straight to September?
If my member of my committee asked to do that, we can do that. We can go to update one for September if we agree.
Just note the other two, Chair.
Chair.
Agree.
Thank you.
Agree, Chair.
Yebo.
Let's go to the September one, please.
Yes. Thank you. I think Councillor Vermoras, other member of my committee, agreed that we must go straight to September 1. September 1 report is in page 36. If we are moved together.
Page 29.
Page 29. Page 29. Yes. Okay. Wait a little bit so that I go in there. Yes. Yes, we are going straight to page 29 to the report of Mr. McCarthy. I think Mr. McCarthy must give us the background of the report according to the COVID and other before councillors asking the question. Is anything you want to share with us, Mr. McCarthy, before we asking the questions?
Good morning, Chair, once again, and good morning, members of the committee.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, I can just say that we slowly but surely returning back to normal in terms of normal routine inspections, but you'll see that most of the inspections of September were still very much focused on compliance in terms of the COVID-related premises and inspections and surveillance. But you'll see there's quite a comprehensive list of food sampling that we've undertaken. But there's nothing specific in terms of relevant matters that I need to discuss. But if there's any answers in terms of questions to be raised, I'll be more than happy to answer.
Oh.
Yes, I've got the question.
Yes, Councillor Vermoras.
My first question is, I just want to get to that page. premises. I want to ask about the toilet facilities. It says comments. I don't know if it's specifically, it's on page 33. It's not specifically making mention of the toilets, but it just says there under comments that the current condition at the Knysna taxi rank and informal trading areas is a concern, a cause of environmental health concern. So I just want to know from Mr. McCarthy, is that the whole taxi rank, the conditions there, and then what about the toilets? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor, before you answer, Mr. McCarthy, I see Richard is part of our meeting. You are part of our meeting, Richard.
Chairperson, apologies for being late. I have joined, so I just want to indicate to it that I've joined. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Can you answer, Mr. McCarthy?
Chairperson, yes, thank you. Yeah, I've raised this issue in terms of the environmental health conditions various times during the last Section 80 meetings, as well as the Knysna estuary pollution meeting, because it ultimately impacts on the health of the estuary in terms of waste being generated by illegal fruit and veg traders, as well as people sleeping on the premises itself, obviously impacting on the environmental health status of that particular area, as well as the stormwater that ultimately flows into the estuary. It's been discussed in various forums, and it definitely needs to be discussed more in terms of looking towards directing to the other departments, such as the LED department as well, which is quite a relevant role player. So I must just say that the conditions have definitely improved since the last meeting that we discussed, but there's still room for improvement, especially in terms of the illegal fruit and veg traders still selling their wares and ultimately causing health nuisance.
Thank you. Mamunaki.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to know from Mr. McCarthy, did they notice that our water is brownish now?
Okay. Mr. McCarthy, can you answer that one of water?
Sorry, Chair, I just missed the question. I just someone went offline for it. But, is there any possibility that we could just maybe just repeat the question, please?
Have you noticed? Have you noticed that our water is brownish now since last week?
Specifically, which ward, councillor?
I mean, what tree?
Ward 3. We normally rely on concerns and complaints raised from the public. It hasn't reached my office yet, but what I'll do is I'll speak to the relevant department, the technical department, just to make sure what the situation is, because I know that the last water sample we took complied in terms of bacteriological parameters. But what I'll do, I'll speak to Mr. Royden Perry after the meeting just to make sure what the situation of the current status is of Ward 3's water. I'll do that for you, councillor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think Director of Technical Services, yeah. Can you help us, Director?
Yes, Chairperson. My apologies. I was not aware that there was a problem with water quality in Ward 3. I will ask the teams that are responsible for quality assurance on the water to contact Councillor Naki so that we can send somebody to go and do an investigation and see what the problem is. So we give that undertaking and we will report back to Councillor Naki. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you. Thank you, Director. Randall, over.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Just relating to the taxi rank issue, we've had a few engagements together with the Garden Road District Municipality and the Building Control Section on the issue of the taxi rank. We've issued all walkers stalls on the taxi rank with wheelie bins. But what we've noticed is that whole building stretching from Absa Bank down to ShopRite, that whole building does not have a proper refuse collection area. So we've engaged with the building control section on that issue. So we're trying to monitor the situation there and trying to rectify what needs to be rectified there, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Is anyone want to ask Mr. McCarthy, Richard? I give you the
Chairperson, just a confirmation from the Director Technical Services. I've just phoned Mr. Perry. It's the first time that he also hear about it, but he'll check and then come back to the Director.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I think, Mr. McCarthy, the general question there. I think all the people at the spaza shop and everyone is coming back after COVID-19. All the spaza shop, Mr. McCarthy, is registered. And most of the Somalians one and other one is registered to run the business in your system.
Chairperson, yeah, the challenge remains in terms of registering. They are registered with us, but some of them are not in possession of a relevant health certificate due to the fact they do not comply in terms of structural and hygienic conditions. That to us still remains a big problem or a huge challenge in terms of having them non-compliant and trading illegally. But I must admit, in the last couple of months, since the lockdown has been minimized, these people have now come on board in terms of applying once again for new certificates, but we will not be issuing any health certificates if a premises is not fully compliant.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Mr.
Councillor.
Chair. Mr. Chair.
Okay, is Councillor Vormeras and is Councillor Ngezu, ne? Yes, after Councillor Vormeras.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I want to ask Mr. McCartney about the soup kitchens. We know at the beginning of COVID, there were a lot of soup kitchens in and around Knysna. But now I think the majority of them is not, they are not doing what they did during lockdown because there are not a lot of sponsors anymore, and Rotary is also withdrawn. They are not helping after the 30th of September. But I was struggling with one specific soup kitchen that couldn't get a permit because at that stage, the answer given to me was that the workload of Mr. Hervels and them are so heavy that they couldn't go to everybody. So I just want to know, will they still do the inspections at soup kitchens? I'm now not specifically only talking about that one, but that lady is going to proceed with her soup kitchen. She is not going to stop. But whenever she asks for donations from people, then they will ask her if she is registered with the municipality. So I just want to know if she can now still apply after the majority of soup kitchens are not in operation anymore. Thank you.
Chairperson, if I just may answer that question, yeah, we had a collective understanding in terms of a cutoff of soup kitchens during the peak of COVID. Yes, they've drastically reduced in numbers. And what we're looking at now, and we're using the EPWPs that's been appointed by Garden Route to assist us to look at the more sustainable soup kitchens that can function basically on their own and that is of sound structure that we obviously are inspecting as well. So yes, I think they are obviously allowed to open up and to apply. Obviously, then we'll be inspecting them on the grounds of compliance from our side. But yes, the soup kitchens in all the areas throughout the whole Greater Knysna have drastically reduced in the last 2 months.
Thank you, Mr. McCarthy.
Thank you.
Okay.
I say, councillors, before you get in, Councillor Mezu, Councillor Richard, is something you want to say to us?
Thank you for the upgrade to councillor, Chair, but I'll stay where I am. Chairperson, just from our side as well, just confirming that Liesel is also assisting with the help of the EPWP process, so that we can see who is still on board, who is still feeding people, and if they are self-sustainable, and be able to do that. But the numbers have drastically decreased due to number of facts. Councillor Wolmerans, I thought that was sorted out, so apologies from my side. I was under the impression that lady is sorted.
Thank you. Councillor Mezu?
Okay, Mr. Chair. You hear me?
Yeah, Bo.
Okay, my question, Mr. Chairman, is going to Mr. McCarthy about because we're talking about health and hygiene here. I don't know, Mr. McCarthy, my question is, in my area, there's areas that they need toilets. I think toilet must is healthy, because people use pushes now to go to toilet to help themselves. Now I want to know, you can play a role on that area, on that one, because we talk about this thing, the toilets. Now we want to know in their side, you can play a role, because people use pushes, and then in our areas it's not healthy. But when I read this agenda, there's a health and in hygiene. Now I need that it can help us on that thing, of toilets. Like, thank you.
Councillor, yes, Chairperson, Councillor, yes, we can definitely assist in terms of identifying the specific area which the councillor is referring to. I know the issue of communal toilets has always been a challenge in terms of providing them and servicing them as well. But I can definitely take the discussion offline with the councillor and just assist in terms of identifying the area, and obviously then health and hygiene awareness and training for the folks staying in that particular area itself. We can assist, yes.
Okay, thanks a lot, Mr. McCarthy. Okay, sure.
Thank you. I think we can use that opportunity so that the district can help. I think it's Councillor Levay and Councillor Vormenas.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning to you and everyone. Just back on the spaza shops. Now, Mr. McCarthy said that there's a number of spaza shops that are not compliant. But I just want to know, what is the SOP in terms of what happens after that? Because obviously, do we just then allow people to be non-compliant? Because at the end of the day, it's affecting our residents, in our communities negatively. Because if anything happens, because they're not compliant, it's a massive problem. So I just want to know what happens after that. So they're not compliant, and then what's the next phase? Are other stakeholders involved, like SAPs, etc.? Because I know in my ward particularly, they've closed down shops a number of times because of certain issues like this. So I just want to know what the SOP is after you discover that they're not compliant, after a number of times, maybe once or twice. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Mugat.
Chairperson, yeah, it still remains a huge problem or a challenge as the councillors mentioned, getting all the stakeholders involved. There's basically three systems involved in terms of the issue of a health certificate from the garden route, the issue of a permit in terms of the LED, and then the issue of a business license. If all three of those are not being met by the relevant spaza shop, they should not be operating. And I think, yeah, we need to clamp down much more urgently in terms of collectively closing the premises down if it complies or do not comply to all three swears of those permits not being issued.
Thank you. Councillor Vormeras.
Chair, my apologies, but I was supposed to ask this question at the beginning of the meeting. Do we have a translator in the meeting?
Thank you, Councillor Vormeras. I don't see, MM is part of this meeting. Director, Corporate Service is here.
Nou jy sien, chairperson, dis tye soos die wanneer ons vir Bart regtig baie mis. Because it seems as if this is now an omission from the administration, like yesterday with our council meeting also. They know that there must be a translator in all our meetings. Because if I want to speak Afrikaans, I want to speak Afrikaans. Likewise with the other councillors, if they want to speak in their mother tongue, then they must feel free to do that. We can't every time be in a meeting and then we ask the question. Administration is supposed to organize these things for us.
Thank you, Vormeras. I think Director, if you want to help us.
Yes, I'm trying to get in touch with somebody. I noticed Director Corporate is not here. I'm trying to arrange something through the director's office. As soon as I get, I will give feedback to the meeting. Thanks, Chairperson.
Thank you to take the lead, Director. Councillor Skosana.
Chair, I want to get greetings to everyone. Chair, I want to get into this issue of translation. We cannot accept this thing. It is uncalled for. We are paying these people, these directors, a huge of money. To treat us like this, they are failing us. We must deal with this issue completely. Thank you.
Thank you. My director, Gordon France, you want to say something?
Yes, thank you, Chairperson. I wanted to propose that for the purpose of this meeting and for continuity, may I maybe take the position of a translator where a person wants to speak Xhosa. Then perhaps maybe I can ask one of my colleagues to assist with translation. Well, I don't know whether there's any need for a translation to English from Afrikaans. If there is any need, perhaps maybe Richard or Randall could assist with that, just for the sake of continuity.
Thank you, councillors. Thank you, directors. I think that Director of Technical Service, you get one you are.
Yes, Chairperson, I've spoken to Director Corporate Services. She's trying to find somebody and she'll get back to us shortly so that she can have somebody on the meeting. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you. I think, councillors, we must deal these things in so that we sorry, can you mute your mic, please? I think, councillors, this issue of the interpreter, we must sort it out. I think we make sure that when we sit as a maker and other, we can sort this issue of the interpreter. Otherwise, this is something we can continue happening. Really, it's happened yesterday in the SEP, it's happened again, maybe it's happened even afternoon to other Section 80. I think we must deal in this issue one thing for all, to know that we have a person who can translate for us. But for the sake of the time, we must continue. I think I see Councillor Skosana hand first, and then I give Councillor Levey, and then
it's an old hand, Chair. An old hand.
Yes, it's an old hand. Okay, Councillor Levey.
Yes, Chair. I don't want to labor the point, but just to find out through you to Mr. McCarthy, so once these spaza shops are not compliant, do you then, as the district, send a letter to the police? What is the operating procedure? Do you then say look, you want to bring it to the attention of the police that this particular shop does not comply in the following ways and it should be closed down. I just want to find out what is the actual process after you guys have established that they're not compliant on those 3 areas. In other words, who closes down the shop? Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. McCarthy. Mr. McCarthy, you still here?
I just unmuted myself. Chair, yeah, in a case of extreme non-compliance, we immediately close down the premises in terms of unhygienic conditions or very poor structural compliance. But we do give people a chance to address the non-compliance in terms of structure. But in a case of extreme unhygienic conditions, we have a mandate to close the shop down ourselves. But I think we need to talk about this collectively again in terms of when do we close the shop down if it doesn't comply in terms of administration as well as compliance from all the authorities in terms of SAPS, the district as well as the local municipality.
Thank you, Mr. McCarthy. I think, Mr. McCarthy, this is the question because when it's a COVID-19, the most of the people is not coming back to their business because of the licensing and the certificate. So I think now is a time that we make sure that the outside people, we cannot operate freely when our people is not operate freely. His buzzer shop, we must operate according to the law. This is what is supposed to do. I think it's a time now to check all these spaza shop must be compliant. Any spaza shop is not compliant. We must do something because when is something happened, somebody we must account. We don't want as a municipality to account. And I don't think that the municipal district can be account. If the spaza shop is not compliant, I think something must take up because I believe that is other business is not back because of other compliance and other things. I think this is the question that Councillor David is asking. When the person is not compliant, it can continue. So I think to me, but when something happened, somebody must account.
Chairperson, I completely agree, but it has to be a collective action, definitely, yeah. I think we need to clamp down, especially now in giving out the directives to all the premises throughout the whole Greater Knysna area, but it needs to be a collective action from all the authorities, yes, definitely.
Thank you. Mr. Richard?
Chairperson, can I suggest that Mr. James McCarthy send us a mail copying Mr. Buns and all the relevant so that we can set up such meeting? Thank you.
Thank you.
I will do so, Mr. Chair, as soon as possible. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Richard. I think, councillors, we have a recommendation to page 35 for noting the report of September. I think we can start to all our report. I think we can note all the report we have it. Start from the July one. Can agree, my members of my committees?
Agree, Chair.
Agree, Chair.
Thanks a lot. I think, Mr. McCarthy, you can do what Mr. Richard saying, so that we must be part of that meeting, so that we must look at the issue of the spaza shop also, because we can't leave the people is not comply and then the business as usual. In the end of the day, all municipalities must be account when somebody can die with something, because I see other spaza shop has a big cat there sitting on top of the food and other things. I think these things must be coming to the end. Thank you, Mr. McCarthy, to be here. Thank you to give us the report. I apologize for the miss of the last Section 80 for missed date and other things. Thank you very much. And now we are moving, my members of my committee, to the community service monthly report in August, page 36. We're going straight to page 36 to our report, and the recommendation is still in page 36. It's always can you Richard Mayor as a disaster? I don't want to ask the straight direction question. Is anything, because we have a double disaster in these days, is there any information you want to give us according to the status of the disaster of this municipality? Chris?
Sorry, Chair. I see Councillor Wolmerans' hand is up as well. So maybe I must wait for her. If she's got a question as well on the similar thing, then I'll answer both.
Okay. Councillor Wolmerans?
Thank you, Chairperson. You can tell me if it's not relevant to this committee, but I want to ask, we had received severe weather reports last week, and normally that is a disaster in our areas. So my question is actually, you know what, last week, I think the heavy rain came on Friday and Saturday, I'm now not sure. But then I think it was community services, I'm not sure if it was law enforcement, who came to Hornley and delivered empty sandbags. So how on earth can you bring, whilst the rain is already falling, the people's houses are starting to flood, how can you bring empty sandbags to a person's house who don't even have got transport to go and fill up that sandbag? I was quite surprised and amazed, and I've had a lot of emotions because I was disappointed in the municipality, because how can you do that? I don't know if this is the correct platform, but I just need an answer on that. Whose call was that to bring empty sandbags to the residents' houses? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Wolmerans. Rich?
Chairperson, I will answer. Let me start with Councillor Wolmerans. It was mine, and it was the reasons for that. We did that because the previous time, not the second one that was over Friday, the previous one we gave sandbags, full sandbags to those people in that area as well. So we ran out of sandbags, and the quickest way to assist the people was to give them bags to do that. So that was my call, nobody else's. So if there's someone that needs to be, then it's me. So after that we've changed, because actually there were some people that actually asked for empty sandbags because they will actually fill it themselves. And therefore that happened, but we are in a place, and now Chairperson answering yours in the same line. We are busy with a plan which is called a contingency and mitigation plan with regard to all the wards where houses has flooded. What is the cause of the floods? Is it a technical matter? Is it a stormwater matter? Will sandbags help? Do we have to relocate houses because they are in a flood line? Those are the things that I'm busy with. That was requested by the MM, so I'm busy dealing with that. And then also the weather report was, when it came out, it was suggested that in that one it was a low risk, but then when we take it like that, a warning, then we look at that. But what happens actually on the ground is sometimes different than what the weather report is saying. And we cannot be, we are not the weather report. We are not, I don't want to say it, but we're not God at this point in time. So sometimes they are correct, and sometimes they are totally wrong with the weather. Then we get more rain. Like the previous one, we didn't even get a report from that. So yes, I'm busy with that. So that report will go to the and he will probably submit it as well when that comes. So hopefully that is answered. We have teams now. We have filled a lot of sandbags over this past couple of days with the help of Mr. Barnes' team to actually then go around. And I need to mention this as well. When we get a weather report, I normally ask the law enforcement officers to actually go to your normal areas where houses are flooding to make sure that they still have enough sandbags and that it's almost like a pre-warning, early warning system that we use to say to them, listen, we have received a weather report. Please make sure that the sandbags is fine, that you can divert the water from your house. So that is also in place to assist the people. But as we all know, the couple of severe weathers that we had was too much water too quick, which was a cutoff low that made the trouble, and it was and it was just not be able to be contained by anybody at this stage. But we are putting measures in place, and hopefully by the next round, this will be the people will be more resilient against the floods. Chairperson, thank you.
Mr. Barnes, you want to say something?
Chairperson, thank you. Yes, I would like to also to add to what Richard has said. This morning, the officers reported that, firstly, I hear Richard is going to compile a report, but the officers reported this morning that it's almost the same houses year in and year out which are flooded, which suggests to me that maybe the problem should then be looked at from a different angle. Are these houses still, can these houses be moved? Because they say, for instance, near Honley Primary, there is a house which is flooded each year because this house is lying lower than where the water comes from. So even if you put sandbags, the water will still go into this house. However, to add to what Richard has said, to try and assist these people, officers have yesterday filled quite a number of sandbags so that a repetition of what Councillor Bomorans has been saying does not occur. So if there's any inclement weather this weekend, that people can be assisted with full sandbags. And we have also decided that henceforth we're going to keep some of the sandbags in one of the containers that we have here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Barnes. Can I ask you the direct question? This is community service supposed to deliver the sand, to make the sand and deliver to where the problem is. This is the community duty, that one, because sometimes it's something that this is not our job, it's a technical service, it's not community service. This is community service one, that one of putting the sand inside of the something to make sure the sand is there to deliver the sand to where the problem is. This is the work of the law enforcement. It's part of their job, so that tomorrow we don't have the same situation we have it.
Chairperson, All right, I'm not sure who's, you can go first. I'm not sure who was talking now.
As you can go, I'll do a follow-up after you.
No, go, Richard. Go.
Chairperson, thank you. It is a collective. We have done it in the past, and then we also make use of Mr. Bezuidenhout, the fire chief is also assisting us, and then the Director Technical Services team is also helping us. So it is a dual function because we sit with numerous sites. It is easier to to be a collective, but at the end of the day, we coordinate it from a central point and just make sure that everything is covered, and hereby saying that all related in future, that it goes through the fire brigade services, like we've done in the past. We will run a mini JOC, a joint ops from there, so that we can get to every single one, and that also allows us not to miss anybody that is on the list. So if it needs sandbags, then we can, between us, technical and law enforcement, we can make sure that people are sorted when it comes to whatever the need may be. And then, Chair, if they are done, I just want to show you a weather report, maybe to just explain that. But I will wait for your permission before I do that.
Okay. The Director of Technical Service.
Yes, thank you, Chairperson. I agree with Richard that we must stop working in silos and we must start working together as a team. I think when you look at when the heavy rain comes, it's not only Knysna, the one particular area in Knysna that floods. I think it's the entire area, whether it's the northern areas, it's Hornley, it's the CBD, or it's other areas as well. So I think that when the request for assistance comes in, the number of people that needs to be mobilized is huge. And if we don't work together as a team, there's no way that we're going to be able to assist everybody. We've on a number of occasions, whenever we anticipate rain, we prepare on average about 300 sandbags. So I think it's important that we work together. I know Richard's team also prepares sandbags. There are certain things, for example, when a place is flooding, you've got the stormwater team who knows how to unblock, for example, stormwater, or to be able to get into certain areas and deal with certain stormwater problems, which then means that if somebody else can assist with delivering those sandbags, it doesn't take resources away from being able to deal with some of the stormwater issues. The people who know exactly how to deal with the stormwater are dealt with. I think Richard is saying something very important as well. We find that these problems of flooding occur on a regular basis, and we regularly, every second week, we are delivering sandbags to the same houses. We need to see how we deal with the problem more long term. And I think that's one of the issues that we need to address, a more long-term solution, and to see what is happening to all of these sandbags that we produce. I can tell you that we've produced thousands of sandbags in the last month or two, and they just seem to disappear every time. So no, thank you, Chairperson. I think it's a joint responsibility, and I think we need to work together as a team to address some of the issues. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Director. I think Director is good. Sometimes it's difficult in reality, these things of working together. There's no one. Because the name we are using to assist who's responsible of this. But at the moment, I think, Director, we are fine. When you're saying that we must go straight to sort the problems, I think is the best. I think, Rich, all these areas have a problem. I think we can sit with the technical service we can see. I think even in my area we have the same problem, but the director trying to solve the problem, I think the problem is a little bit solved. I think we must go also to other areas to solve the problem. I think, but these things of assisting, this is the collective. Sometimes it's not work. Sometimes it's work, sometimes it's not work. Because you found that the people who are supposed to do their job is saying that no, it's not our job. You found that the law enforcement is not a march, maybe it's 11 people. When it's a lot of problem, you don't have a manpower, and I believe that directors and other people not have the powers to take quick people. If you need a manpower, 20 people, it's difficult to go and take casual quick, because tomorrow you can answer why are you taking the people like this. So to me, these things must be sorted out, director, little bit and little bit. Director, is something you want to put in front of us?
Yes, Chairperson. I just want to add, I hear what you're saying, Councillor, and I appreciate it 100%, that we need to take responsibility and coordinate from one central point. And I think Richard said something very important. When there is a problem in an area, the coordination, and he mentioned an important word, setting up a mini JOC. So when there's a problem, all those problems, for example, flooding or a burst pipe or something that is happening, that information must go via the fire station. I think when people are having a problem, they need to report to the fire station so that we can coordinate one response from the fire station. You know, sometimes if you send it to me or if you send it to Director of Community Services, we're busy because we're in that disaster mode. We're busy trying to coordinate other things like getting teams, mobilizing teams, and getting things organized. And sometimes we're not concentrating on the messages that are coming because we're trying to address a mini disaster. So I think there are those people that are dealing with gathering the complaints and then allocating the work. And that is the fire station and that mini JOC that we set up. So if we have one central place where all the complaints come in, then the directors are there or the supervisors and managers are there who can then allocate the work that needs to be to go. So I think what Richard is saying is very important. There must be one central place of where the problem is reported, and then who needs to be allocated the work from there is then directors' responsibility and managers. So I think the most important thing when we're in a crisis mode is to call the one central place so that we coordinate our response from one point. No, thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you. Thank you. Councillor Vormara.
Chairperson, thank you. I want to thank the Director, Technical Services, and Richard agreeing that it is going to be a combined effort, because I've learned over the years that this municipality, then when you complain about something, then this department will say it's not my responsibility, it's that department's responsibility. So I'm very happy about that. And also, our municipality are not proactive. We are normally in a reactive mode when things go wrong. Whilst we knew about these problems for many years, and it is as if Richard Orr, the Director Technical, said that it's the same houses that are flooded each and every year. So somewhere there should have been already a list of problematic areas. Before it occurs, then we are ready to go. We are on standby, and whenever we get the call, then we go out. So I want to ask Chairperson if we can get a plan at our next Section 80 of how we are going to deal with this going forward. I've heard, Richard, sorry for the dog, but there's people outside in the street with dogs, so now he is barking. My apologies, Chairperson. So as Richard has said, that they are busy with compiling a report. If we then can see that report on this platform before it goes to council. And the fire department, with all due respect, Chairperson, I see Mr. Besaidenout is also in the office there with Mr. Barnes. Whenever you complain, I'm not now talking about councillors, but whenever you phone them to lodge a complaint, the answers that our officials manning those phones are giving to the normal residents of our town, I think that is totally incorrect. Like we had that issue with the electricity failure in only a week ago. So the response was, no, the electrician is not going to come out because of the volatile situation in only. You don't give such responses to ordinary members of the public. So please, if we can work on that one as well. But Chair, I will end off now, but my request is that the plan that Mr. Meyer was talking about, that they submitted to the next Section 80 committee. And I hope Mr. Besaidenout have heard what I was saying now about the responses from his officials that are manning our phones. You can't give information like that to members of the public. And whenever things go wrong, now lately in only, who gets blamed? Not officials, but the councillors that are staying here. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you. Richard?
Chairperson, I don't want to belabor the point, but I think most of the challenges that we've experienced over the past, I must say, over the last 2 occasions of the severe floods, we had a good cooperation between the different directorates, which when it comes to the operational. So yeah, and just for the councillor Wilmerans as well, that's therefore the early warning system that we've implemented to actually go and warn those people that is in those areas that has been flooded. As Mr. Bunce has said, over the years they flood the same houses is flooding. So that would be part of the plan. The plan would go to the acting MM. He will then probably submit that to the TMT, and that will come to the Section 80 and then go through the process. So that's the route that we'll follow. I'm just waiting for some information still that is outstanding so that I can give a comprehensive report and also what the mitigation factors could be, and then also maybe look at what the cost implication, because there's definitely going to be a cost implication on that, and therefore it will probably have to go to council. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Rich. I think it's very important, councillors. I think the other thing, we must have this team of job. We must have that team. That team, we must stand there so that we must not be something is nobody knows. We must have this. If it's the director of technical service and you and other, we must know the names of that people. Whatever happens, that people must sit down and direct and give the information. I think these things must be in place now, because these things of disaster we have a lot of disaster here in Knysna, but it looks like we are not experiencing nothing. Rich?
Mr. Chair, it's me, Councillor. Mr. Chair,
sorry.
I'm on it.
Yes.
Okay, sorry, man. I was sorry to disturb you, Mr. Chairman. I'm on a meeting here. Can I apologize myself, man?
Okay. Oh yes.
Okay, that is not wrong. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Chairperson.
Yes.
Maybe just let me just clarify what I've been saying about the mini jock. It is already happening when we do have these severe weather at the fire brigade, where it is received by the fire brigade because they have the call center there, and it gets dispatched then from the center by Mr. Besaidenout's people, and that includes everyone from technical, stormwater, electrical, everything gets directed from there. If they cannot handle that, then we will bring in people like we've done before to answer the phones, and to actually then we will be part of that as well, myself, and then whoever from the directors. But it is running at this stage, and it's effectively at this stage. I think after the last two that we have, we are doing it like I've mentioned, Chair. There is a group of people. So if you phone me, because disaster is currently hanging in the air, but I'm dealing with it. So if there is, then I'm the guy to phone.
Oh yes. Oh, thank you, Rich. I give you Mr. Barnes.
Good morning, Chairperson. It's not Mr. Barnes, it's Ian Besaidenout.
Oh, yes, yes.
Chair, through you to Councillor Wolmerans. Councillor, I take note of what you said, and I will certainly address that with the operators.
Oh, thank you.
Baie dankie, meneer Besaidenout. Baie dankie.
Thank you. Councillor Matiga, I see your hands.
No, thank you very much. Also, Chairperson, it's not like we want to blame Mr. Mayor, because we are also saying that because the problem that we're having is that it's like there is no proper planning. Because the rain, if there's going to be heavy rain, we are told in 3 days' times. Then when it starts raining, then the joke is meeting on that day. And it's where we are panicking that we must go and deliver sandbags. It's where we are panicking that the stormwater is blocked. So we are saying that that meeting must happen prior to the disaster or prior to these heavy rains. So that if technical service and community service needs to meet, then they must meet 2 days before. Meet and check that hotspots, are those drains clean in those hotspots? If technical service need to send teams on all those hotspots, technical service must send it in 2 days before. Technical service must send a team in those hotspots that those main drains and those drains must be clean, so that the rain so that it doesn't affect people too much. But that time when the technical service is busy with that, then community services go there 2 days before, go and make sure that there are enough sandbags and they are packed properly so that water cannot get in. Was one of the issues that community service, law enforcement is doing. They're just outside the yard. They're not even going and assist people and pack those. They just throw them outside. I saw it in my ward. When it was raining, law enforcement came in my ward and they said, no, it's not their job to go and pack there. There's a lady there. I have to go and pack myself because it's a female that is 57 years. We cannot expect her to go outside his yard and take the bag and go and pack there so that water cannot. So I'm saying that it's like we don't have a proper plan in action, because when every time it's raining, it's where we start people going around and all of us start going around. We are saying that meet us, even if you have to call councillors 2 days before and say, councillors, there's going to be heavy rain. So that we can say that, okay, in my ward, I know these 3 areas, when it's raining, it's always a problem. So that Praveen and his team will say that even if there are people that are doing road maintenance, they must stop for that 2 days. Go and assist in terms of cleaning. If you need more manpower, go check manpower so that they can go and clean these storm waters. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Matiga. Before I give you Rich to give us this weather, I want to ask Councillor Director Technical Service, you still here?
Yes, Chairperson, I'm here.
I want to ask you, man, because sometimes it's difficult. What I found in our municipality, it's difficult to work. I know tool is very important. That's why I am harsh when I speak to community service. We must organize the vehicles and other things. How many machines you have it in your technical service for the whole NISNA?
Councillor, in total, we have 250 vehicles. I won't be able to tell you off the top of my head how many. I know that we have at least 2 TLBs. We've got 2 graders. Water tanks. I think we've got between ourselves and ourselves as technical, we've got 2. And I know that fire station have got at least 2 as well. So that's off the top of my head. And then we've got some vacuum trucks. We've got one vacuum truck that belongs to us and one jetting machine. So those are the types of plants that we have and that we will probably use in a situation where things are flooded and those kinds of things that we need assistance. So those are the plants that I can think off the top of my head, and it's the bigger plant.
Oh, yes.
Thank you, Chairperson.
Yes, Director. That's why I ask it, because the joke when it's sitting, this is the things we can look at. Because if you see, it's only have 2 TLBs for the whole Niger. Only two TLBs machine. I don't think we can make it any difference, because when it's a problem, the work of these days is working with the machines. So the trucks, there's nothing you can do with the trucks. Is the TLBs is working. This is the job we can say. We must organize another machine. Take, for instance, if there's all those 9 wards have their problem of the disaster, is only have 2 TLBs. What can we do? Other people who can wait, because that TLB is busy there. And I think the job, we must start to realize where is the problem is. Because sometimes we can make a meetings, when it's a problem. I understand even now, it's already a backlog of this disaster because of there's no machine. If one machine is broken, it's only have one machine in technical service. How many complaints going in a day for one machine? So I think for me, Director of Technical Service and the Richard Mayor and the joke, all we must sit down and look at what is the tool we need for the Niger, because Niger is not the same as other areas. Niger is like steep areas. Machine is working too much. Niger. There's no people going to the craft and making other things. I think to me the problem, we don't have a necessary tools to deal with this problem of Niger. I think, Rich, you can give us the weather. You want to give us the weather something. Can I give you the opportunity?
Chairperson, thank you. No, I just wanted to show you what when we receive it from the South African weather, I actually send it to all the relevant stakeholders, and therefore from that, Christopher and his team will then put it out. But let me just share it quickly with you. It looks like this. So you will see, can you see the screen, Chair?
Yes.
You will see there's the level 1 for disruptive rain. But if you look at, they will number it a 1 or a 2 or a 3. But it's a level 1 means that the likelihood is medium that it will happen, and it's minor impact. So when it's like this, we look at that as well, and therefore also discussions when it comes to the accumulation of between 5 to 15 millimeter, and then reaching to 20 to 40 millimeters over the eastern part. If it's over a time period of 3, 4, 5 hours, then that 40 is not much. That's why the likelihood is medium and the impact would be minor. What we've had in the past is that it will lie, the likelihood would be high and significant. So the likelihood is good that it's going to rain 40 millimeters in an hour or 2. And that we do disseminate to the relevant officials to make sure that we do early warning and we prep our systems before the time. But we are reliable on South African weather to actually send us this that we have. If we don't receive this, we have a challenge because we do not know about it. And we can only take it as face value what they say and then interpret this as to what they say. So that's what we do, and hopefully just to understand where it's coming from to make decisions on the whether the likelihood and then the impact of that. But I take note of also of what Councillor Matika has said. We will have to sit and see, because there is capacity is a problem, and then we're talking about human capacity, because it's not always that easy to take people off the street, to ask them to assist, because there's a process to follow. And vehicles, there is definitely a capacity problem there as well, but then there's a cost implication as well, and therefore the report would hopefully be inclusive of that as well, and we'll have to make a decision at the end of the day. Are we prepared to put money, and how much money do we put into that to mitigate and actually make the people, our people that is vulnerable, more resilient against these severe storms, because it's not gonna subside. It's gonna get worse, as they have said, with climate change is not helping us as well. So, Chair, thank you for the opportunity. I think I've said enough. Thank you.
Thank you, Rich. Councillor Matika, and then we are going to our recommendations. Councillor Matika.
Thank you very much, Chair. And Chair, also, I think as a council, we also need to be serious. It's like we're not serious as a council. I'm saying that all of us, I'm not saying who. Was really, at this day and age, we know NISA, we know, and then we are not ready. We don't have any disaster department. So we don't have any disaster department. It's only Mr. Mayor. Doesn't have a team that is there full time in this office. I don't know. We think maybe disaster is only fires, or disaster is only what happened in 2016. That's not the only disaster. Disaster happens almost every day. When a house burns down there, that's part of disaster. We need to have set up a disaster. If we need to amend our microstructure, we must amend. We need to set up a disaster, a dedicated team that will be there assisting Mr. Richard. That will be there. Even vehicles, even containers, we know that they will have a second section, that where we store our disaster stuff. The containers, and then we have staff that are dealing with them each and on a daily basis. Because really disaster, we need to be serious about disaster. If I'm not mistaken, I think we're the only municipality that doesn't have a disaster component. There's not even one party for a disaster that will be assisting in terms of disaster. We are in serious trouble. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Matika. Through you, my acting director, can I ask to Mr. Bunsen, how many new vehicles we got it now, since we are waiting for the vehicles in my department? We have a new vehicles, we have it, so that the committees know the vehicles we are asking. We look like we are getting. How many now we got it? Mr. Barnes.
Chairperson, sorry, I was a bit distracted, slightly distracted. I didn't realize that you were talking to me. As far as vehicles are concerned, for this current financial year, we haven't received a single new vehicle. However, we have the speed management tender, which was granted to a company service provider. Now, in that service level agreement with the service provider, built in that was something they call a social responsibility grant. Now, out of that social responsibility grant, we have requested the service provider to buy us 2 vehicles. The registration papers of those vehicles have just been, whilst we were talking, that is what have actually distracted me. The registration papers were being delivered to me. of these 2 vehicles. So we will be getting those 2 vehicles in the course of this week, either today or tomorrow. And to prepare ourselves for the festive season, what we have decided, we went out on a request for quotations to hire 2 additional vehicles for the festive season, which we will utilize till mid-January. I am now supposed to be signing off an RFQ. Supply chain processes have been almost completed, and we will then have those 2 additional vehicles. In other words, we will have 4 additional vehicles to prepare us for this festive season or the upcoming festive season. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Barnes. Rishi?
Okay, apologies. Can I ask to just leave the room for a couple of minutes?
No, fine, thanks. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Barnes, about this report. I want this report until we get the all vehicles. I think each and every Section 80 we have it. I need the report of the vehicles because it's a tendency here of speaking, nothing happened. That's why I need to make sure that these things happened. I think at the moment we have 2 vehicles I see in my department. Can you explain about these 2? We have it now, Mr. Barnes.
If I understand you correctly, Chairperson, the 2 vehicles that you're referring to were 2 vehicles that were budgeted for. But those vehicles were only, according to the budget, we will only receive them in the next financial year. However, the director, Mr. Eben Films, have requested that the provision of those vehicles be moved forward to the current financial year. I am not sure how far that process is, but I will follow up with it and I can report back to you, Councillor.
Thank you, Mr. Bansman, because it's the agreement between us and the MM that we can hire the vehicles. It's the very cheapest one. I believe that problem is supposed to sort it out now. I believe that we have vehicles in the site. I still listen the hanging. You see, we are already agreed that, and then we got the quotation of hiring the vehicles, but I don't see the vehicles. I don't know. It's a talk show. What is really happened? So that's why I'm saying, Mr. Barnes. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Barnes. I think I can get the information when you are finished. I think in the next Section 80 we have the vehicles. Thank you, Mr. Barnes. Thank you.
Chairperson, yes, it's right in my hand.
No, thank you very much. I am happy to see that is happening because I try to convince even other directors. I speak with Mayor. If we are complaining, because even myself, I'm waiting for machine to clean what has happened to my heart. There is no machine in technical service. I asked it to Mayor. Mayor saying that people have a right, if there is no machine, to go and hire a machine to Kororosi and everywhere. I don't know why in this case it's difficult to do the job and then people find the something that I can't do this because we don't have this. Mayor saying the directors have a right if don't have machine to go and hire machine. Now we're waiting for the 3 weeks. Something happened to other rain. Other rain is coming. That thing has happened again. We're still waiting machine for even today. That is very, very, very upset. Even when even happened to the councillor, what happened to the people on the street? So I think we must start now to do our job so that everything must be fully. If we don't have equipment, we have a right to hire the tool. We can't do nothing without a tool, directors. I think I see your hand, Director Technical Service, and then we are going to...
No, Chairperson, I'm covered. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Director. We have the recommendation of our report, that the consolidated report of community service for the month of August 2020 be noted. We agree, members of my committee.
Agree, Chairperson.
Thank you. I believe that we still have a quorum here because we are 3. Yes, it's fine. We are going to the last one. Provision of Municipal Museum. I think my acting director, it can be give us the background of this one, because I know this one is no better than me. I think I can give, before I give my director, I give Richard.
Chair, sorry, I'm back. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot. My director, can you give us the background of this municipality museum 6.5?
Thank you, Chairperson. This is basically to ask for permission from Council to apply for the affiliation of the municipal museum to the provincial museum services. As it's already indicated in the item as well, the municipality decided to take over the running of the museum from a committee that had established one in the town of Neisner. So in the new dispensation, the function of running museums is that of the provincial sphere of government. So therefore, this initiative will actually assist us in perhaps maybe trying to get province to take over the running of the museum from the municipality, or partially fund it, going forward if they don't wish to take it over. I think I should perhaps maybe indicate that it was the initiative of the municipality to establish the museum in the first place. So there cannot be an expectation from the municipal side that the province must fund the museum service that we establish ourselves. So basically, we are going to be submitting. The request is just basically to give us permission to submit an application for province to take over the museum or partially fund it, or whatever the case may be that they will agree to. The minimum requirement for them to be able to take over a museum is that they need basically a building. There must be a building, and also we must work. We must have a theme. We have various themes in terms of the museum services, which are about 5. We may have to reduce those themes if they so require, because I know that the museum in George, which is run by province, has only got one theme, which is timber. We also have a theme on timber because we are a timber town, but then that's a discussion for another day. But for now, we're basically requesting the permission to go and approach province with an application to affiliate the museum to the provincial sphere of government. Thank you.
Thank you, my acting director, Councillor Vormeras.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chair, yes, I've read the report. I don't have any problem with it. My only concern is to Mr. Franz, what is happening then if province is going to take over this function? How is that going to affect the current staff that is working at the museum? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. My acting director.
And Chairperson, I don't want to preempt the outcome of the discussions. That will be part of the discussions in terms of what's going to happen with the staff. But we currently, just to report that we currently only have just one staff member at a junior level, who's Barry Kempfer, who is a museum assistant that's currently working at the museum, and myself as the manager of museums and library services. So I obviously would still have a job, but Barry might have to be redeployed if that's the agreement that we come to with the provincial museum services. But perhaps maybe we should leave that to the MM and the discussion that they're going to have with the provincial museum services. And then we'll bring a report in terms of that.
Chair, can I have a follow-up, please?
Yes.
I hear now Mr. Francis only speaking about Berry, and then what about the other lady that's working at the old goal? Under which department does that fall? I was under the impression that it is also part of the museum.
Chairperson, there is another lady, as the councillor indicates, a mural pale. She's basically was seconded from the only library. She's an admin assistant in my office, but she does assist in the museum, as she's already indicated. She basically does everything. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, councillors. I think it's a straightforward item, but I understand it's a lot of negotiation and other things has happened. But the recommendation is front of us. I think also this item is going straight to the council. So it's a lot of discussion. At the moment, we must take our recommendation to page 60, that the report card to the representation of municipal museum be noted, and the acting municipal manager be given permission to present a proposal to the Department of Cultural Affairs and Sport for the affiliation of the municipal museum to the department. I think, can we move in that recommendation, my members of my committee?
Agree, Chair.
Chair.
Thank you. Now we're going to the closure, but I want to put in this thing in this way. If we see members of my committee here, unless I make a mistake, it's only director we have it here, is the director of technical service. Unless it's anyone, I miss it.
Councillor, this is the Director for Planning and Economic Development.
Oh yes, thank you. Is anyone, I miss it? Yes, yes. No, it's fine. I think there's no MMs in this meeting. I don't see MM in this meeting, Councillor,
I've seen an email that the Corporate Services Director is acting today. Apparently the MM is not in.
Oh, yes. Okay. Councillor Matiga?
Thank you very much. Sorry, man, I check your meeting. I just want to check my committee members. Just want to check if they are here in this meeting. Was our meeting supposed to start at 2 o'clock? Just want to check if my committee members are here. Then if they are here, then we can maybe reschedule and start maybe earlier than 2 o'clock. But I don't seem to find them here. Then which means we'll start at 2. Okay, sorry, Chairperson.
I think Councillor Matik, is a lot of things can be changed. I think the official and other things, I can say you phone it to your members, but unfortunately you can't phone everyone. Then I think it can affect a lot of things.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I think you can stick to your time you have it. That's why I asked it members of my committee, because I give my acting director the disappointment of all the directors is not here And MM also, I want my acting director to write that letter on behalf of me as the chairperson and the members of my committee, that we are very disappointed because all of us, we know about those meetings. If the director is not in the meeting, we must take the person to be stand for them. Councillor Vormeras?
Chair, and we mustn't forget about the interpreter as well. That must also be added.
Yes, I think my acting director must write that letter to send it straight to MM and other one to send it straight to Mayor. I'm very disappointed. You know the director is not here. I'm not get any things that director is not coming here. Even the issue of the interpreter, and then you must send that letter, and then you can CC to me so that I can see, so that I can get the report of that of that letter. Councillor, my acting director.
Just for clarification, Chairperson, but we can take it offline. Just basically to indicate which directors are not present, because the Director Planning has indicated she is here, and Director Technical is at the meeting as well. Perhaps maybe we can take it offline, and then maybe we will take it from there in terms of the letter that I must write. Thank you, Chair.
Yes. Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. Okay, okay. That is the hands of Sidwell Vumazonge I see on top there. James, you want to speak?
Good morning, Chairperson.
Yes.
Good morning, Chairperson. I was phoned later for the meeting. My director Pumla asked me to sit in, but I only arrived late, so she phoned me to attend, and she sent me a link.
Okay, okay, okay. Thanks about your Councillor Vormeras. You still want to say something?
No, sorry, my apologies, Chair. That was an old end. My apologies.
Oh yes. I think I can speak with you, my director, because sometimes if these things happen, we can continue happened, so that the people is not working together and all of that. Even if you see, it's only two departments is not here. I see it's a finance department is not here, and human settlement acting director is not here. I think it's the acting director also there in finance whatsoever. I don't know. Even myself, I don't know MM is there, but I think other people have the email. That is not here. I think this complaint is very must. I can speak to you. You write that letter so that, because if these things is going in this way, you found that all the Section 80 people who can attend, people is not attend, people are going to attend. That is where working with silos started. I think, thank you, my members of my committee. I wish Mr. Barnes, we see the vehicles. When the vehicles see, I want to see so that all my members of the committee must know we got 2 vehicles, we got 3 vehicles, so that we can continue starting to gain momentum. Thanks a lot. The meeting adjourned.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.